I'm going to start recording. So we're going to be recording this. We will make it available through YouTube after the fact. So you can check it out if you miss anything or want to share it with a friend. That would be great. To just review, it's been a couple weeks since we met. We had several weeks that we were offering this early on when the stay-at-home began. Wabash and Lake and Gig Strategic started talking about some ways that we could be available to the business community, ways where we could stay in shape, as like keep our business muscles flexed and make sure we're continuing to grow and stay sharp with running our businesses during this time, and help each other and just be a fun, laid back place where we could learn and support each other. So that's what it's been. We've had 12 people on a call. We've had no people on a call. So it's been a hit or miss as far as participation, but I'm glad that that the folks that are here. And we plan to continue to do this as long as people want us to. So it's, we don't want to do it just to do it. We want to really provide value. And so if it looks like it's as things get back to normal and you're able to network and get educated and do the things that you feel are going to support your business in other ways, then that's great. So otherwise, we'll keep these going for the time being. Joe, do you want to say anything before we get started?
Just to reiterate what he was saying, our intent here was to make this so that everything is easily digestible. We're not going to give you a PhD level conversation. We're going to at least give you relatable things that you can do during this time. The original intent was everybody's saying, what can we do? And we've all seen, those who work hardest during times like this, when they can, in their own way, tend to be better on the other side. So that was the entire intent. What elements can we help talk about, discuss, and give a perspective on that we see in our daily operations, but that a lot of business owners don't. And we've been systematically walking through elements of your digital presence all the way to your brand and that language, and trying to make it as relatable as possible for small businesses. So this topic today falls right in line with that. And James is going to give the technical side that is very, very important. And we're going to give a little bit of the humanity, the relatable side. And together you'll see how it can be applied to your business. And with that,
perfect.
I guess, James,
I am going to actually. All right, excellent. I'm going to go ahead and make Shelly, I'm going to make you a host. Wait, maybe I shouldn't do that. I'm just thinking as people come in, I sometimes miss seeing them when they come in when I'm presenting. But
do you want me to do that, James?
If you guys see anybody trying to get in, just let me know. Yeah, I don't know that I can make it. It looks like I can't make you a co-host. I don't know why. I can just either make you a host or not. So I'm just going to keep it as it is, and we'll just give it a shot. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Excellent. So Gig Strategic, we are helping local businesses with their online marketing. And today we're going to be talking about website content and landing pages, improving quality for SEO and SEM. So to start, we throw around a lot of these acronyms, I guess they are. So I wanted to just clarify, make sure we're all on the same page on what SEO is and what SEM is. So what is SEO? SEO is search engine optimization, and it's the practice of improving your website ranking. So trying to rank as high as we can on the search engines for relevant keywords that have to do with our business and how people might be searching for our business. All right. The way it works, the website is crawled by various robots and spiders, and then it's indexed on the World Wide Web and ranked based on varying factors. And we're going to talk about some of those factors today. Two big considerations are the on-site things that we do to our website. So that can be the actual content itself, as well as the some of the technical pieces that I'll be talking about today. And then the other piece is the off-site. So that's where websites vote for us. The internet and websites do not exist in a vacuum, hopefully. If you're in a vacuum, that's probably not a good thing. We want people to find us, and we want them to find us easily. So offsite factors are ways that domain authority, websites that have maybe a high domain authority, link to our website, and they raise their hand and vote that yes, we have something of value that we're offering. And so building that backlink profile is another way that can improve our search engine optimization. On the right hand side, you see a local paid search strategy, Charlottesville. I chose that because I was the top organic ranking. It took me like 15 searches to get that. I'm just kidding. A little humor there. That was a search I did, and it's just to show there's a paid ad at the top. Joe, it's okay. It's okay. He's just shaking his head at me. Paid ad at the top. We have our top organic listing underneath, that's the SEO piece, is that practice of trying to get that ranking, that organic natural search ranking as high up on the SERP, which is the search engine results page, the SERP, as quickly as possible. So I try not to throw around too many technical terms, but it's good to learn these as we can. So what is SEM? SEM is search engine marketing. So we differentiate between the organic, unpaid search, and then the actual paid advertising. So this is more of the advertising piece. So this is where we're buying that traffic. We're paying for that ad placement. So paid search, also called PPC, pay-per-click. It can drive traffic through bidding on keywords and other ways that we can do display ads. We can use paid social, and that is the ad we see at the top of the page, that local advertising, 100% self-serve, no IO, I can't see the rest of it, but that is the paid search. So main considerations for performance with paid search, there are things that impact quality score, which can impact how much we're paying for our advertising, but and we'll talk about that more later. But keywords, bids, targeting, ad type, copy, extensions, landing pages, conversions, these are all things that we're thinking about when we're looking at our paid search campaign. All right. And so to get into this discussion here, where I'm going to make the case for good content improving both your SEO and your SEM. So why the content of our website is important, what we're writing about, how we're writing it, how it's appearing on the page itself on our website, where it's appearing. All of these different things can impact both SEO and SEM. So the first thing, my little picture here on the right, I stole from Gary Vaynerchuk. I didn't have he didn't have it pointing to anybody as far as who built this. I don't know who made this picture, but it's tough to grow anything without water. So in business owners, most business owners, we are trying to get traffic. We want traffic to come to our site. We want high quality, good quality, qualified leads, and people that may be interested in our products and services. We want those folks to come to our site. So if we want to grow that traffic, what we need is water, and the water is the content on our website. So we need to determine what content we're going to write about. So starting this place, this is where we're going to do some customer research. We need to reach out and ask our customers, how did you find us? What were some ways that you were searching for us? And so we need to think like our customers and start to develop a customer persona. Like, what is our ideal customer? What do they look like? What are their interests? What are other websites they may be visiting? What kind of content are they consuming? What would they find interesting? So we want to do some of that customer research, maybe just through asking them. And a couple weeks ago, Joe and Shelly with the Wabash and Lake team did a great session on brand, on what is your brand? Who are you? You know, what is your brand? And they did a great presentation. It's on YouTube. I would definitely recommend looking at that. It can help give us an idea of our of who we are and how we want to start to build content in order to relate to our ideal customer. So asking your best customers. We want that engagement. Think about your brand and what is the promise that you're making. And then we want to focus that content, one topic per page or post, so that it's easy to categorize and organize that information. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit, as well as to how that looks, what that looks like. Organizing our site is important too, so that people can find us easily. So that's where you get into UX, which is user experience. We want to make sure that that user experience, there's a nice flow to it, that that people can easily navigate our website and find information. Write well. This is not my area of expertise. In fact, I'll show you. I'm going to expose some of the back end of my website and some of the posts I've done. And my writing style is not great. I get pinged all the time for my flesh reading scale, I guess, and some of these things that my website looks at. And I write a lot in the passive voice. I do all these different things. So, write well. Is it interesting and engaging? That's the main thing. Is it resonating with people? Does it get their attention? Does it answer the question? Does it meet a need? These are the types of things as we build content on our website that we want to think about. So writing well is important. Having that voice that portrays your brand. Is it, for me, I'm more of a educational, technical, trying to share that expertise, that I'm an expert in this area. And so I'm trying to teach from that perspective. Maybe yours is more, like come alongside of us and hop, get on the bus, and we're all going to go through this together. And so maybe you have some things where it's more trying to incorporate people into a community. But anyway, these different ways, whatever it is that we're trying to do to get relevant traffic and good and engaging our customers, we want to start to think about that in a very intentional way. And then
James, if I might for a second.
Go right ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, when you're talking about the writing and writing well, one thing, if you really are trying to improve your content, improve that SEO, SEM, there are ways. If you're not a good writer, seeking out sources through Upwork or Freelancer, people that you can provide the content for which you want to address, and then give them your goals, what you're trying to do as far as the engagement stuff. And then it's actually far more affordable than you might think, because Upwork is a freelance kind of situation. So if you really do want to engage them and writing really isn't your thing, it's okay. I mean, Nicole, you might be really great at facials, but sentence construction is not going to be your thing, right? And that's fine. We can't all be experts at everything. So that's an option, James. I just want to throw that. I've used some people like that to get some work done like that.
That's great, Shelley. I love that. I think, my approach, I look at a lot of our business owners, they're typically small business owners. We try to wear too many dang hats, and we try to do everything ourselves. And that's one of the reasons why I actually started Gig Strategic, was to, think about how can we take some of that off your plate in a way that's affordable. And I find that, a lot of things that we get from business owners have claw marks on them because they want to hang on to that thing. They don't want to give control. And it's like, are they going to be able to create the content the way I want to? And so, no, this is a great thing. And, delegating that, giving that work, taking it off our plate so we can focus on customer service, new customer
acquisition. And in
acquisition.
that way, you're working with somebody else to reach those goals. And they're not going to get it right off the bat, but then it's like, it gives you a place to start to kind of pare down some things so that your message is what you want it to be. And I know that's what Joe and I do for a lot of our clients, is we do handle a lot of that writing for them, which is not something that most agencies do, for sure. So James, a couple of people, if you want to run some stuff by us, man, we got your back, so don't worry about that.
I'm just going to, I want to add one little small piece to that, because we can always tell when we look at a website if the owners have written it, or if somebody who has creative writing elements in the background has written the copy. If you look at your copy and it has I, me, and we as one of the primary words throughout all of the copy, odds are it's probably incorrect. The better way is to take that copy and make it all about them. And this is, I'll end on this one little piece. In advertising, which we deal with, people think if it's mass market or any sort of ads, you're talking to 100,000 people at a time. No, in fact, you're speaking to one person at a time. So especially with your website, there's one person across the screen. You might be reaching 10,000 people in a month, but there's still one person across the screen. Talk to them as an individual, be on their side, and use empathy. So I'll pause there.
Yeah, no, that's great. And we're going to get into some more of this as well, but I think that is all great stuff. Thank you, Joe and Shelley, both. The third piece, my wheelhouse, is more getting into the technical tools and using those to your advantage. So looking at analytics, Search Console, other SEO tools like Yoast on a WordPress site, and then some of the on-site HTML tags that we can do to help with organizing content and helping the spiders to crawl the site. So these are some of the guidelines, just as a basic rough draft or a way to think about my content and how it might improve SEO and SEM. So one thing I was thinking about is, people ask a lot, what keywords should I be focused on? What are people searching? And again, I really think going directly to your customer base and maybe putting together, calling some of your best customers and having a 30-minute conversation with them, give them a gift certificate or something like that. But I think that's where you can get a lot of great information about what they're looking for. But another place, of course, is Google. I'm a like it or not, we're stuck with Google. They have the data. And this was something, Google Trends is a service where we can start to look at different keywords and get some ideas as to what the, how much demand there is for those keywords. So we're looking at searches. So this is people actually searching for these keywords. I was optimizing a lot for online marketing. Okay, that's my background. That's how I think of digital marketing, as online marketing. Okay, well, you can see here that digital marketing has been growing, and it's since 2019 up through today. And it's definitely much higher. The way people are searching is they're actually searching for digital marketing as a search term as opposed to online marketing. You can dig down deeper in Google Trends and actually find out a little more about like your locality, because in different locations people might use different keywords to describe things. So in my locality, it's not as it's not as big of a discrepancy. So there is more online marketing versus digital marketing. And then I can actually look at, even down to a certain region. But my point with this is where we can see demand for certain keywords. So if I'm going to be investing time and optimizing for certain keywords, I want to see how people are using these keywords and where the traffic is. So that's something that I would suggest as one place to go, is Google Trends. Also within AdWords, there are some tools within AdWords for Keyword Planner. And I thought this was interesting. So then if I look at things a little bit technically, and I'm looking at digital marketing versus online marketing, max cost per click, and I see that this actually reflects the same thing, that there's fewer impressions for online marketing than there are for digital marketing. So my cost may be lower. But what I find interesting is the click-through rate is much higher for online marketing than it is for digital marketing, and the cost per click is a little bit lower. So you might make some different advertising decisions based on the information that you get on the keyword planner when you're looking at various keywords and how they might perform. So that was just a brief look at some of the keywords, how we might pick a keyword, things like that. I wanted to, Joe, this is where I may have you all talk a little bit more about focused content. But I do want to talk about the how we base content on the potential. Oh, potential. Wow, look, see, there's a typo right there. Did you see that? Potential customers' needs.
Congrats.
Yeah. So whoever edits this, we'll cut that part out. Okay. So I'm going to pause and we'll go from there. So we all make mistakes. It's okay. Building focused content based on potential customers' needs. So this picture I built, and I love this idea. It's been communicated through time. You know, I found this to be a great way to communicate how we should organize content on our website. This picture here is the example of if we went to a jewelry store, for example, and I wanted to buy a gold men's watch, okay? And in the middle of the jewelry store is a bin that has necklaces, bracelets, watches, silver watches, gold watches, has all of this stuff in one big bin in the middle of the store. How easy would it be for me to find that gold watch I'm looking for? Not very easy, right? It's supposed to, oh, I think everybody's muted, but I'll use that as an excuse. Everybody's muted. But I want you to participate. So if we're trying to find that gold watch, we've got that big bucket in the middle of the store that has all these things in it. It makes it hard for me to find what I'm looking for, right? So this is where we start to think about the organization of our content on our website. So if I have a landing page that talks about watches, bracelets, necklaces, women's clothing, and hats, what 3 to 5 keywords could I try to optimize this page for?
Jewelry, accessories.
You took mine.
Baubles.
I was going to say accessories.
Baubles.
Ooh, baubles.
Well, I was going to say accessories too, but he took it, so I had to go with baubles.
We're going to beat you up in the alley later, Joe.
So
Thank you,
accessories,
Kelly.
I think, is perfect. Yeah, I think that this is like, you know, so
Probably fashion accessories. Yeah.
fashion accessories, you know, so this is
Bling.
probably bling, retail, so like buying accessories,
Beautiful,
buying
so
fashion
it says.
accessories. You know, maybe is it trendy fashion accessories? Is it, you know, retro fashion accessories? What are some of these, you know, based on our brand and what we're trying to sell? We have all of these various products on one landing page. This is what like a top level page may look like, a directory page would, or a, you know, some information, sorry, an information page would look like, maybe our homepage even. For me, for example, I have a bunch of our search engine, you know, optimization may be there with digital marketing, may be there with paid search, with display ads, with social ads, all of those things. Well, you know, if I try to optimize for just one of those keywords, it's going to be challenging on that page since it talks about so many different things. So this is where we start to think about optimizing for more specific keywords. In the industry, they call this long tail. So you've got your head keywords, which are maybe 1 word or 2 words. Then you have your torso keywords, and then you have your tail or your long tail keywords. And so when we get into long tail keywords, we're getting very specific within a product or a service. So our homepage may have these different things, and we're optimizing maybe for accessories. But when I click through to the jewelry page, we have watches, necklaces, and rings. And so we optimize that page for jewelry. And then maybe we have watches as a page that we can click through to. We go down to the men's gold watch that I was trying to find. And that page may actually talk about other types of jewelry, which would then point back to my jewelry page. That link pointing back to my jewelry page would be an internal link. And that can be something that is important as far as SEO. But the idea here that you can see, I hope, is that there's different content on each of these pages, and it's designed to lead me to what I'm looking for, which is a men's gold watch, right? And ultimately, if I optimize for men's gold watch, then when I search that keyword of men's gold watch, that page will actually be the page that would come up, not this page, not the home page, but actually this product level page that I'm optimizing for that more long tail keyword, right? So this now gets me to my thinking like a robot. So when a site is crawled, we need to think like a robot. So how does a robot read my website? It may not read it the same way that a human reads it. And in fact, it doesn't. There are a lot of things, though, that it does do. This is Yoast. Yoast is a plugin that you can add to your WordPress website. I do use them. I think it's really good for providing some guide rails for SEO, and it gives me some green. It'll have these red, they'll turn yellow, and then they'll turn green as I do certain things to help my SEO, my ranking. So I look at trying to get as many of these green as possible. I'm not going to talk about all of these, but a couple really quick would be the image alt attributes in an image. So if I've got an image on my site, the robot can't really see that image, right? So a lot of times we see that images are just you know, DSC-003096 maybe, or something like that. But when we actually upload a image to our website, we want to give it a name, a title that is actually relevant to what that image is, and also relevant to the keyword that we're targeting for that page. So this might be, you know, gold watches in Charlottesville, Virginia, and it's a picture of gold watches in Charlottesville, Virginia. I put that picture and it's titled that way, and then I would also want to make sure that the image alt text, which tells the robot what that image is also labeled correctly. Here is some optimizations on my website. I had my store, Gig Strategic, the old tag. For the description, for the meta name description content, this tells the robots what to show on the search engine result page. So you see on the search engine result page, you know, you have your URL listing at the top, and then you'll have a little bit of a write-up, some information there. Well, Google a lot of times will just pull in, it'll guess here, but if I want to optimize for the best content and the keywords for that page, I will write a description here and include that in the actual tag for the title tag. It gives it that meta name description and content there. So that's one example. Another example here was an image, and again, the alt text. You know, what is Gig Strategic for an image that I have? And I think that that could be better than that even. So just thinking about naming our images so that when our website is crawled, people can actually see what that image is. And the more of those things that line up, the more signals it's going to give the robot to index us for those keywords that we're focused on. All right. Anything else? Let's see. I'll show a little bit more. There's more to SEO than just this. Okay. So the SEO piece where I showed you a second ago, I built a page about search engine optimization a few weeks ago. I figured if I'm talking about this, I need to actually do this myself too. I built the page. I followed the guidelines as I talked about before to try to get as many you know, green dots as I can. My SEO analysis, I'm getting the green smiley face. I'm super happy. But then when I actually go to search, if I go, and I recommend doing it in an incognito browser when you search for things. So if I look at search engine optimization company, Charlottesville, I see these paid search ads at the top, right? And then I get into the Google map and I'm not there, which is like, oh, I wish I was there. I built this page and everything for search engine optimization. I go down here and you know, I'm not on the first page. I scroll down and there I am on the second page. So I'm towards the top of the second page. Well, so I'm like, well, I built this page, I did everything right. How come I'm not on the first page? There's a lot of factors that go into this. So don't beat yourself up. It takes a lot of time. And I think about SEO as the rudder of a massive ship. So you've got a big ship. It's been setting sail since the day you launched your website. And as we're doing SEO, we're moving that rudder. We know that ships don't turn on a dime. It takes time to move us towards that increased ranking on the search engine results pages. So give yourself a break. Take it easy when you're doing SEO, or when you even when you work with an agency to help you with your SEO. It can take months. So you just need to be prepared for that. And it's not just about the on-site pieces. Remember, we talked about that there's also the link acquired, the link acquisition, the backlink profile. So if I exist in a vacuum and nobody is linking to my website, it's going to be harder for me to rank, even though I might have done everything perfectly with my content, with the technical pieces. I still need to have websites pointing to my website. And so this is where backlinks are important, and there are different ways to get backlinks. For example, UVA has a discount program that they offer, and if you want to partner with them, you can reach out to their HR department and say, our business is offering this to employees at UVA that work in the, at the hospital or something like that. And then you give them your URL, and they link to your page. So there are ways to go after those links, writing, being a guest blogger, or, having other content that's out there that's then pointing back to our website as ways to improve our SEO. So anything, Joe, you want to say about content at this point? I do want to finish up talking a little bit about SEM. I've talked almost this entire time about SEO. I do want to have a little bit of time to talk about SEM side and how this also impacts our paid search program. But I do want to stop for a minute to just finish up on the content itself and writing good content.
Sure, I'll help bridge the gap actually between the two. As James mentioned in one of the last slides, was think like a robot. There's an art and science to thinking like a robot, which is necessary to play the Google and or Bing and or Yahoo game. But there's also, on the flip side of that, as I said earlier, there's still an individual. Once you get their attention, once they find you through search or they go directly to your page through some other means, there's still the balance of communicating properly to the human being on the other side of the screen, whether it's a phone, a tablet, laptop, whatever it might be. It's knowing that customer and speaking to them and employing empathy in your language. We recommend that 100%. Don't make the copy about you or your business as much as you think you should. And the analogy I'll give is if you go to a networking meeting, from the past, we've all had it happen. I've had it happen many times where somebody is nervous, they're not self-aware, and they walk up to you in the networking meeting and they say, "Hi, I'm Joe. I do this and I do this and I do this and me and me and me and I and they're just rambling and talking instead of being a human being. Say, "Hey, my name's Joe. How are you? What do you do?" And having a conversation. The websites that, as I said earlier, if the copy is all about the owner and what the owner does and who he is and who she is and what they have done, that's that same analogy of being in a network meeting going me, 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 as opposed to having a conversation. So take what you are, what you have been, what you bring to the table, and make it about what they can get from you. That promise you're going to give to them, that experience you're going to deliver. And balancing that, the SEO needs, and talking to the human being, doing that correctly will lead to even better traction on your site. Even more people coming through your landing page if you acknowledge the human being on the other side of the screen. That's our theory for everything we do when we write copy, when we create content. To help bridge the gap between what James is talking about, SEO and SEM, when we think of SEO, when we're talking to other clients, SEO, if you want to, people think SEO is fast acting. Well, it really isn't. We consider SEO, this analogy I've got is SEO is kind of like that long-term mutual fund, that savings account that you put the money in, and after a longer period of time, you start to see real results. SEM is almost day trading in the stock market. If you play it, you put the money in and you invest the time and you're playing, you're going to get fast results. You have to play the game right. So if that helps bridge James into SEM, then there you go.
Absolutely. No, thank you, Joe. That's perfect. And that actually made me think of a few things. And I love your analogy there. It is like day trading. It's about the money there in a lot of ways. But I did want to go back to what you're saying. And there is an 80-20 rule. And we encourage people with social posting, like you're saying as well. 80% of the time I need to be talking about things that my customer might find interesting,
Yes.
that is not promoting, not self-promoting. So 20% of the time it's okay. I can promote myself and, hey, we've got a sale and we're, come on board, buy this product. But 80% of the time I want to say, hey, did you know in the industry that this is happening? Did you know that if you need to do this, this is a way that can help you with this? And, so it's really that 80-20 rule. And it's really important with social media. I do think it's important with our websites too. To think in terms of making sure that we're providing that value for our.
And to put a cap on that thought, I'll keep this really brief too. The best, I explain this to a lot, from advertising to digital to print to whatever it might be. We live in the era of these devices here. They are built on, it's hardware, but the software they're built on is built on these algorithms that are employed to make us feel special. The more I feel special, the more time I'll spend on Instagram, the more time I'll spend on Reddit, et cetera, et cetera. They're built to empower the individual and make the individual feel so special. So take that same mindset. These algorithms that have brought people to your site have gamed the human condition to make that human feel special and understood and cared about enough that they care to click on your site. And so your copy should match that same approach. Make that individual human feel just as special as they were moments before they came to your site.
Awesome. Very good. So from moving from that into the final piece, I like to start a lot of times when I'm talking about my goals as a business and what I'm trying to accomplish. I say, if I'm going to go anywhere, what's the first thing I know? And people will know that I like to say, you got to know where you are to start before I can go anywhere. If I'm going to go to California, if I don't know where I'm starting from, I don't know how I can get there. And where I'm going is important, but where I am is important too. So I want to make sure that I know my benchmarking. I like to know my numbers. Digital provides a lot of ability for us to have access to data and be able to track information. So, is it working? Are my SEO and SEM efforts working? Know your numbers so we can monitor the performance in the various analytics or within AdWords as well. So this is where, I'm targeting these 22 keywords. 22 of them are on page 1. 20 of them have been improved. This is, gives some ideas for different keywords, what the benchmark was, and then where I am today. And then looking at analytics as well in the various channels. How is my organic search, performance, over time? And then also to finish up here, going into the paid search piece. So this is SEM. So how does the content impact SEM? And I don't want to overlook this. I don't have as many slides on this, so I'm just going to talk about it. If you have questions, please let me know. But some of the things when we're bidding on a keyword, we're bidding in an auction. Whenever I'm trying to compete to have my ad placed at the top of the Google search engine result page, I'm bidding on these various keywords. Well, there's a function. Joe talked about it being like day trading. I can bid a ton of money to get myself to that top position. And in order to level the playing field in some ways, Google has added another component to the auction, which is called quality score. So quality score is really important. The higher my quality score, the lower I will actually have to pay for that same placement, whether it's in first position, second position, third position on the search engine result page. My quality score is super important. Well, we have known factors in the quality score, how it's determined. One of them is click-through rate. So as Joe was saying, does that ad resonate with me? Is there something I'm seeing in there that makes me feel special? And for me, getting my need met right now makes me feel special. That's what most consumers want. What are you going to do for me right now? How can you answer this right now? How can I put this into my shopping cart right now? And so how does our text ad relate to that keyword that they're searching, with trying to understand their intent for the best click-through rate to get that person to come through to my website. So click-through rate's important. So that's where the words we use, the copy, the content of those text ads is important. Next, the landing page itself. So Google has a way to follow through those clicks to see that landing page. If I'm selling hair products and I'm pushing my free hair product and people come to my landing page and it's actually about a mindset book that I've written and how I'm going to improve your mindset, and it has nothing to do with hair products, it's like they're going to bounce. You know, they're like, why did I even click on that ad? It's not relevant. So we want to make sure that that landing page is really matching up with the content of our keywords. So this is, again, where the keywords that I'm focused on for SEO, I want to be focusing on those in my SEM campaign so that I actually pay a lower cost per click because of my higher quality score for the same keyword in the same auction. So this is another piece to think about. So if I'm driving traffic to one landing page where the content maybe is a little bit scattered, if it's going back to the gold watches, if I want to bid on a keyword for gold watches and I send them to my home page, my quality score is not going to be as high as it would be if I sent them to that gold watches page. Okay, does that make sense? And so what you can see here in this example, I'm showing that the cost per click has been going down over time. And some ways that we can do that are improving the quality score. And then we do that through improving the ad copy for click-through rate. But we also want to make sure that the content on the landing page is relevant for that ad group. So the way we even build our ad groups within our paid search campaigns are going to reflect the structure and the way that we organize the content on our website. And doing all these things well is what will lead us to this, which is we're going to try to kill two birds with one stone. And the way we do that is we optimize for SEO in what content we put on our sites. It also will help us with our SEM. And ultimately, we're trying to produce best content, relevant, engaging, focused, organized for your customer, for your customers, that ideal persona, and they will efficiently find you through the SEO ranking, and you them, where we're trying to pull them in through the ranking and we're pushing out through our advertising. So those pull and push techniques can work together. You know, our pulling them in through that SEO piece where they see us ranking higher, and that's where we're finding where they'll find us, and then we're going after them with that SEM piece where we're advertising, spending money efficiently by thinking about our content, thinking about ways to improve our quality score to pay the lowest amount to get the most high quality traffic to our website. So that's the conclusion there. Any questions? We'll go into a time here of Q&A. I have my SpaceX. They were supposed to launch yesterday. Weather delayed them. The first manned trip that not done by the government. Elon Musk, right, was going to put 2 men in space, and it didn't happen yesterday. But hopefully one day soon it will, which is fun. Anyway, got sidetracked there. But any questions, please. You want to have this last few minutes here. We've got about 10 minutes still before the top of the hour, and I'd love to answer any questions. I know Joe and Shelley would be, would welcome that as well.
I have a question.
Go right ahead.
So when I'm thinking about building out my website, I'm thinking about the customer experience always. So, you know, is it efficiently organized? Is it all on one page? Can they just scroll, mobile friendly and all of that? But in light of what you're saying, I'm trying to think about the robot, kind of getting myself confused. Like, if it's to make it easy for a robot, I would literally have one bucket for each item laid out separately, like a farmer's market. That would be so easy. You know, all the tomatoes are here and all the corn is here. But if you go to a website, you wouldn't want to having to go to so many different pages. So can you help bridge that for me a little bit in terms of how do you make it robot friendly, but then still make it customer and user experience friendly so that it's consolidated and you don't have to keep going to too many pages? Especially with mobile, it seems like everything is kind of on one page. Is that going to throw the robot into confusion, I guess? That's my question.
So, you know, page depth is, you know, the number of clicks it takes me to find information. I do want it to be as few as possible. So part of that's going to be in the top level, how we structure the site within the I'm like blanking, I don't know why, on what it's called, but basically your top category and then your subcategories, right? So trying to organize on a landing page, and you're right, for mobile experience, it can be really tough. So that's where we have to look at what are the top 4 categories that maybe my customers or potential customers are looking at or interested in. We can find information on this through behavior, looking at pages they come to. I've done this recently for a client where we were looking at Google Analytics to see where's traffic coming from, like where are they going? Once they get to my page, my site, what pages do they find the most helpful and go to the most? And it helped us to try to build actually that top level domain, or sorry, that top level categorization for the menu, so that the menu at the top reflects where they find that their customers are most likely to go. So that is one way. And then just trying to have it organized neatly. We do want it to be as few clicks as possible. But what I would say is if you're doing SEO and SEM well, then they should land on that page to start with. So, right, they're not just coming to my website and going through, maybe they are, but they're probably searching for something like the gold watches, men's gold watch. And hopefully if I've organized my content well and it's been indexed properly and everything else, then the page that comes up on paid search would take me right to that landing page, right, that we talked about, instead of to the home page and then I got to try to find it. It should take me directly to the gold watches page, or even the organic listing would take me directly to that page. So part of it would hopefully be solved in the indexing, but the other part would be in trying to have it in a logical way, the way my customer shops my site, to have those categories at the top, easy to find, bucketed, and then subcategories down from there.
Yeah, this is a lot to do with knowing your customer, as we've been talking about throughout this entire series. Actually, it's knowing your customer as well as, if not better than them. And sometimes when you're a small business, you can't get the research, you can't pay for the research to find what you need. But you can do an average of your competition or who you'd like to be. None of us are one of one. There are always other businesses like us all across the country, and you find the one that most resonates in the direction you want to go. You find the top 3 or 5, and you do an average of what their structure is. Maybe they all have simple parallax sites. Okay, that's a pretty good sign that you should as well. You don't need 37 pages on your website. If you are like the distillery, like Walker was on here before, yeah, you should have a nice clean homepage that talks about this. It's an overview, but then each one of the core products that you have intent to sell, and you have a plan behind selling them. You should have a page for the whiskey, for vodka, for rum, and if there are specific flavors, you can highlight those on those page. But it depends on your entire strategy and knowing your customer really well.
Thank you. Good question.
All right, anybody else? Any other questions?
There's one other element I wanted to add back to knowing your customer really well. On landing pages especially, we deal with a lot of clients on our side who have this issue. The landing page is built to be robot friendly, but they're still forgetting the human that has clicked. Remember that if they've seen an ad, they've searched and seen something and clicked on your SEM and now are on a landing page, realize that intent. They're not just a random customer or random person who's on your site. They have intent. They clicked on that ad for a reason. Make sure that copy matches it. Don't be afraid to say, hey, thanks for clicking on, I mean, not clicking on that, but it's almost as if they just walked in your office like, hey, thanks for coming in. Glad you could make the meeting. Acknowledge their intent, and you can take a little more of a direct approach. Show them directly the benefits of what your service is or the product is, depending on the ad that they clicked on. Let them know that right now you can get this, you can learn more, you can experience this. Just fill out this form and you're good. But speak to them direct with intent, as if it was a person in your showroom who is there willing to buy. That I see that element missing a lot of times in the landing page.
Yeah, there's other aspects for conversion that are important too that we didn't get into here, but there's other things we want to do with our website, which is ultimately convert people. So thinking about call to action and other ways that we're tracking and promoting conversions on our site.
Anybody else? Any questions?
Well, if no one's going to go, I'll ask one more since I have
All
you
right.
here. This is great advice. So the more that I'm listening to these different Zooms and listening to how you're approaching everything, it also seems like what I grew into initially in my career as websites became part of it, and how they were developed, and kind of they were sort of like everything in a kitchen sink plus links to your friends. And it was like you put so much content in as sort of an arsenal of content, like a Wikipedia sort of approach. And now it seems like it's very much less is more.
Yes.
So you're very deliberate with what you say. It's like everyone's taking stuff off their website. They look so different than they did in the 90s and the new millennium with, just bars, and they don't waste space with words. It's like, is that just the evolution of people just are overwhelmed with
you're
content?
exactly
So
right.
now take the content away and just
That's a really good
buzzwords,
point.
and I don't know.
So you think about websites in the 90s. We were all doing it, even early 2000s. As a society, we were just beta testing. We didn't know what a good website was. We didn't know what good practices were. We didn't understand any of that. Now we're learning more and more. We're realizing that. So we work with an HVAC company in the state of Virginia, and they are still, their website, which we're going to be working on, or through another vendor. It's still a massive site, and it's very heavy on pages. But when you do heat mapping, which is a new tool now, we can actually study the customer experience through the website. We see that 80% of the pages, no one is going to, even with proper SEO, proper SEM. It's just not what the customer wants or is needing or looking for. So by better understanding how people use websites, we're now better able to understand how to build the proper website. It's basically a trap. It's building a better mousetrap. This is what we've been learning to do.
Yeah, and I also wonder about like what came first, the like does culture follow art, or does art follow culture? Because there was also a lot of gaming. People were trying to figure out this Google algorithm, so trying to game the system as much as they could. So there were things like keyword stuffing and just a lot of black hat, now considered black hat SEO, where now what Google has said, and as their AI has improved, they're teaching their AI to be a better customer, of trying to identify the best customer experience. So ultimately, if we're not trying to game any system, but we're really trying to build our site in a way that is user-friendly, helpful, meets their needs, solves their problem in a very easy way, user-friendly way, we win. That's ultimately what Google's been telling us. And as their AI has gotten smarter and smarter, and they've penalized in each of these updates that they do, they'll penalize people that are trying to game this algorithm. It's like, just take care of your customer. Think about customer first. The Joe approach.
On a bigger, so we do, Nina, we do a lot of different, so our business does a lot of ads. We're an advertising agency. Even the game of making ads has changed. We don't make ads like you would in the 80s. Voice of authority, speaking on high, announcer heavy. No, the better ads are now about the real people. You want to see a patina. You want to see, people like to see real people. Mm-hmm. People like to hear real people. People like to feel as if they relate to whatever it is they're consuming on the other side of the speaker, the magazine, the TV, whatever it might be, the screen. So that has changed too. The more, and this applies to everything we're talking about today, the more real you can be, the better. And so the more, instead of playing the game like James is just talking about, you play the proper SEO, SEM game, but also just be a real person to the real people who are there visiting your site.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello?
Dan, you got something?
I think. First of all, could you, I'm Byzantine in orientation, but could you tell me the difference between online and digital marketing? And then the other question was, as I understand it, you want to have the proper robot bait on your homepage, but it can't be boring. So everyone says, and everyone is putting videos and music on their website. Would you want to just label in behind the scenes the video and the music with all the keywords, but not actually have a lot of words on that homepage? You know, just a basic menu. I don't know. How does that work?
So first, online and digital, I don't think there is a difference. I don't know the difference. I mean, if you Google it, I think if you Googled it, you might find that they're interchangeable. So I just look at anything I'm doing through the internet as being online or digital marketing. I don't differentiate anymore, and I don't know that I don't really know the difference. I don't think there is one. I think they're synonymous.
There really isn't, and the only difference would be the consumer trend. And so that's where you're seeing it change. So people are maybe starting to use the word online as opposed to digital, or vice versa. It just depends. If everyone started using the word online as opposed to digital, then that trend would show, and James would shift his strategy to better match the customer's use of words.
Yeah, internet marketing, same thing.
Yeah.
Right? So digital, online, internet marketing. And I didn't look at internet marketing. Where does that? I bet early on, internet marketing was probably the highest.
Yeah.
And now it's become, the digital and online marketing have grown, and digital seems to be the winner at this point. So then the other aspect is, yes, I'd be careful in saying keywords, but we can tell within the video content, we want to have ways to put titles and descriptions and alt tags, anything to tell what the video is about, but in a way that's, again, real, not necessarily, like you'll see in the old days, people would put every single locality nearby, every county, every city in their footer as like this is my location, and trying to tell the robots. And so they'll put 50 keywords that I want to rank for in that description, and that's not what we want to do. But yeah, if the keyword that we're targeting on that page is relevant to that content, absolutely, right there. Put it, this is a video showing how I make the best martini with, because I know you do that drink, the sip and share thing. So it's like, you'd label that that content about maybe the types of ingredients you're using and where it came from. This was from Tuscany, and it was so if I'm looking up Tuscan rum martini, I don't know, but I could, it might show up, that kind of thing.
Thank you.
All right, we're a little after 12 here, so I think we can finish up. What's for next week? I know we have Wabash and Lake has something for us. I'm excited to hear about it for next week.
Yes, and possibly the idea was also our aim is to be next week. If we see that the need isn't there, if we see that we need to split off to every other week, then we're willing to, as business continues to pick back up here for everybody involved. But our intent is to be on next week at the same exact time, and more customer-facing communications about, or the topic will be more customer-facing as we're